So I'm going to do these two, Lone Ranger and two-step Ranger, in one go, because it makes sense to think of them in one go. So let's read this. Duplicate the functionality of range. Look up the docs for range and wrap it in a one-to-one way. So we can see that range is a function because it's being called with these brackets, right? So let's look it up in the docs for Python. So here we are in a bit of the Google. So let's look up Python range. And what do we get? What results do we get? So we've got Python's range explained by Python Central, which is nice. How to use a decimal range step value, which is also nice. But we want to go to the Python docs. So we can see this is docs.python.org. You can see here. So if we click that, and we want the 2.7 version, let it have a little think. Things are a bit slower when I'm doing video recording. Very much slower. There we go, finally. Here we are. So here are all the built-in functions. So it's worth having a read through these and seeing what they do, because they do all kinds of interesting things. But the one we care about is range, which is in the R's, range. So we can click on that and it'll take it straight to it. So range. And we've got two options. We can say range stop, which is where we write range 10 or something like that. Or if we give it 3 arguments, we can say range start stop step. So the square brackets here mean that step is an optional argument because it will just assume that it's 1 otherwise. So let's read it. This is a versatile function to create lists containing algorithmic progressions. It is most often used in for loops. The arguments must be plain integers. If the step argument is omitted, it defaults to 1, and the start argument is omitted, it defaults to 0. The full form returns a list of plain integers, start plus step, start plus 2 times step, etc., etc. If the step is positive, the last element is the largest start plus I times step less than stop. If step is negative, the last element is the smallest I times step greater than stop. So step must not be 0 as well, or else a value error is raised. Wait for this plane. And then we've got some examples here of how it would be used. So if we go range 10, which is just base range 10, we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And if we want to go from 1 to 10, we'd say 1 to 11 because we want to start at the first number and go up to 1 below the big number. And then we can do the same thing in steps of 5, or we could do negative numbers. And we can get some degenerate cases where we say, give me the range of numbers in 0, which is a weird thing. You'd never really want to do this. And for later on, just remember that the raw input thing is right next to that. So let's switch back to Atom and see where we're going. So we've looked up the docs for range, and so we can get rid of pass, and so we can say return range start stop step. Oh, my linter's having a little tantrum. Go away. Okay, so that's actually all we need to do for this, for the one-to-one wrapping. Sometimes you'll want to rename a function, sometimes you'll want to hide a bit of functionality, or maybe even add a little bit of extra safety. So in this case, we want to hide some functionality. So in this case, we want to say return range, and then let's read what we have to do. Sometimes you want to hide complexity, make a range function that always has a step size of 2. So we want to hard code a value into it. So start, stop, 2. And that's it. That's all you have to do to make that thing work. So it's probably a bit simpler than you're thinking. Always remember that I'm not trying to catch you out. We might do a bit of things that will catch you out maybe in your second or third year, but we're really trying to get you just to understand the basics. So if you think it's too hard, or too complicated, then you're probably doing it the wrong way. See you in a bit.